just get to my stream manager because I did not, in fact, actually plan this. Because why would I plan something when I can just wing it? Well, the truth is, gentle viewers, all zeros of you, because of said post-op stuff that I should be healing from, my sleep schedule is ruined, and will be ruined for the foreseeable future. And by the foreseeable future, knowing my attention span, that's the next week. So, we are here this evening to play more Planescape Torment. So, we're just like jumping right into the meat of things here. Okay, cool. It's all good. There she is. Oh, I should probably kill that thing first before I try and, talk to her. 2 fiends, butt heads. Oh, well that could be Ana and Fall from Grace, seeing as Ana is, I believe, an infernal tiefling, because I don't think you can have abyssal tieflings, canonically speaking. And then, Fall from Grace is a Tenari. Their tiny heads filled with ideas of how the planes should be, yet can never be, or the planes they would be no longer. Such foolishness. Ah, see, that's poignant. Okay. How the planes should be, yet can never be, or the planes they would be no longer. That actually is important, because if you look at the wheel of the planes, which I do not have handy on me at the moment, I could probably go get my player's handbook, hold it up to the camera. But if you look at the wheel of the planes, they are on a dual axis, the same way the alignment is. So like Modrons come from Mechanus, which is the plane of pure order. So you've got, in the middle, you've got the prime material plane, where pretty much everybody is. Then you've got the 2 kind of mirror planes, the Feywild and Shadowfell, which are kind of like mirror planes to the prime material plane, to the point where there are places where it crosses over. Surrounding that, you have the elemental planes. It's like the inner planes, and the inner planes are all 4 elements. Surrounding that, you have the outer planes, and the outer planes are where you get those are the ones along the axes. Yeah, we're going deep into realm lore. It's what I do. I can't like go exactly around the wheel of the outer planes and tell you like which ones. So basically, at the very top, you've got and they're called the positive planes and the negative planes. So the positive planes, like Mount Celestia, I believe, is the one at the very, very top, which is pure. So okay, let's see. Yeah, you've got good. So if you're on the cardinal compass, you've got north would be pure good, south would be pure evil. Let's see, I'm trying to do this in reverse. Yeah. West for you, east for me, I believe is law. East for me, west for you. No, west for me, east for you is chaos. Or order chaos. So at what would be the cardinal point west, I believe, is Mechanus for order. So, but then as you go around like the southwest and the different cardinal points, you then get the other planes, like lawful evil. So Beator, which is the other word for the 9 hells, that's lawful evil. That's where you get the Beatazu. All the infernal fiends are lawful evil. They believe in an order and dominion to their evil natures. Then, in the chaotic, kind of the southeast, I guess, area, you have the Abyss, and that's where the demons, the Tenari, come from. And they basically believe in destruction. Pure destruction. Hey, we can destroy it? Let's go destroy it. The Blood War is currently going on because Asmodeus, for both his own reasons and ostensibly to keep the demons out of the prime material plane, he's got his own reasons too, because he is in fact Beatazu, the king of them. The Blood War has been going on since time immemorial, and it is fought on the Grey Waste which in this, it's as of AD&D, it's fought in the Grey Waste, which is, I believe, one of the in-between planes, one of the evil planes. And then Sigil is somewhere in the Outer Planes. It's the City of Doors. It's kind of like a planescape between them. Anyway, what do you mean not the freaking Blood War? I love the Blood War lore. Come at me. So I wrote a campaign for my birthday one year, and the joke was, because it was my 30th birthday, the protagonist was trying to find a secret to stay young forever. And I literally put in the margins of my notebook, if someone suggests lichdom, buy yourself something nice. If it is specifically one of these two people that suggests lichdom, buy yourself something really nice. Sure enough, both of the people in the margins of my notebook said at the same time to my NPC character that I created, "Have you considered becoming a lich?" And I knew that was going to happen, so I literally set them up and into enabling me to buy Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes and learn about the Blood War. It was a complete setup. So, in conclusion, planar lore is awesome. So, back to Ravel Puzzlewell's thing. Filled with ideas of how the planes should be, yet can never be, or the planes they would be no longer. The whole point of the Outer Planes, if you consider the good, evil, order, chaos axes, is that each plane represents a point on that alignment scale. To the point where, they mention this in Dark Dreams of Furii, and there's actually, which, you know, for all its flaws, it had planar lore. And there's actually a point here where it's referenced. Cities within the Outer Planes, if the general belief of a population sways in any direction one way, like too chaotic, too lawful, too wherever, that entire city will get dragged to the proper plane. That was the whole premise in Dark Dreams of Furii, is that Furii was on the Outlands still, because the population hadn't been swayed enough to drag it down into Avernus. That was the only decent part of that plot, but all that aside. So Ravel Puzzlewell saying that filled with ideas of how the planes should be yet can never be? Yes, because they're arguing the planes should be this, the planes should be that. Well, no, they can't be. Because if they were anything else, they would not be the planes. The whole point of the specific planes is that they represent a specific point on the alignment. I didn't even know I could get onto that soapbox until it was put right in front of me. But I had fun up there. What force or entity makes those determinations? That is a phenomenal question. According to Dark Dreams of Furii, the Neverwinter Nights module, take this with a grain of salt, they had it as the general overarching belief of the populace. And actually, belief is another key point that comes into the Planescape lore. And that is actually, and they talk about it in Planescape Torment as well, belief is a powerful thing on the planes. The more you believe... I'm a paid chatter, that was a setup. I like you. You can stay. Yeah, so... paid chatter, that's a good job. Even if you're kidding, that's a good job. But yeah, the more people believe, and we've seen ourselves in real life, both fortunately and unfortunately, how belief in large numbers can be both very good and very bad. So it only makes sense that the general populace of any city on a plane would, you know, put it in one place or another. I think the only exception is Sigil, which is the city of doors that lead to literally every other part of the plane. And it's so varied with constant planar travelers that, I mean, they even call the main part of the city the Hive. It's basically, they call it the city of doors. I'm trying to think of a good real life equivalent. O'Hare Airport. You don't actually stay in it for longer than several hours. And if you do, it's on a layover. And there's people from all, like any big international airport where you've got people coming and going and from all different places and all different beliefs. That's how you get places that are like on the outlands, say. I believe Sigil is outlands, but like central outlands. Anyway. That was a fun soapbox. I'll have to get on it again sometime. Yeah, fuck O'Hare, absolutely. Yes, would make a good setting for a story or campaign. Funny thing about that, because before I got in this maze, I was in Sigil. A friend of mine owns all the Planescape books. I literally need to like sit down at his house and just be like, I'm gonna be in the corner over here with your entire Planescape library with Sigil and the Outer Planes, and I'm just gonna read and take notes. Ah, yes, the third and last question is this. As Ravel opens her mouth to speak her final question, you are suddenly gripped with the terrible realization that this final question has murdered many others to whom it has been asked. You know what it is, and you feel it welling up within you, and you feel compelled to ask it. What can change the nature of a man? And this is the question upon which the entire game hinges, and it works in the most beautiful way.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
What can change the nature of a man?
Now, you'll notice that we have options here. Love, hatred, power, greed, betrayal, death, regret, age, suffering, success, the planes. You, nothing. Or I cannot answer that question. There is, actually no, there are two technically. There's one main answer that is universally accepted as the quote-unquote correct answer. And there's one later at the very end of the game that is also regarded as correct to the point of getting a Steam achievement. But this is a very important point in the game. This is a pivotal moment in the game. So I ask you, all four of you, out of these options, love, hatred, well, I don't know is also an answer. Love, hatred, power, greed, betrayal, death, regret, age, suffering, success, the planes, Ravel, nothing, or we can't answer the question. Actually, no. I'm going to say we are not allowed to say I don't know and I cannot answer that question because I know how this works. So I ask you, four viewers, what can change the nature of a man? Let's pick nothing. And here it is. And is that your answer? The veins in Ravel's eyes begin to shift slightly and she gives an evil smile. Be certain before you say. It may not be your answer, but it is my answer. And that is what is important. It may not be your answer, but it is my answer. You cast shadows on existence, nameless one. With every death, a shadow arises fresh from the fields of your flesh. They wander for a time, but always they return, looking to murder their parent. Such is the way of many offspring. So every time, the nameless one's immortal. He dies, he comes back. Every time he dies, he casts a shadow. He has lived countless lives and died countless deaths, and has cast so many shadows. I remember this line. I love it. For life swallowed you and spit you out. It swallowed him, but I don't know if he came out that end. Oh, Mort, you beautiful, beautiful skull. The chain of who knows what and where they are never seems to be a smooth series of links. Well, of course not, because then we wouldn't have a game. Get in there. be fair, I've only got the difficulty on like 2, so. Ah, shadow incoming. Now we in trouble.
You see that?
Nice crit, Mort. I did see that. Alright, let's go, team. Let's go. Leap through the portal! Cursed is a dung heap, and we are the excrement that fills it. That is oddly poetic. Oh, because it is in fact a dump. But there's good stuff in the dump. Yeah, I've got way too many charms now because it's like, there was a meme somewhere. It's like, you know, collecting all the enchanted items in the game. It's like, you know, I might need them later for a big boss fight, and then you get to the big boss fight, and it's like, I might need it more later! Who's got all the heart charms? Oh, I do. That's good. Don't get me wrong, I trust fall from grace to heal everybody. I don't trust everybody to stay healed. Where Ravel made her home often finds itself the contested ground in the conflict. What do you mean, what's the blood war? We have had that conversation a brilliant times now.
What is...
And the best lore, like the Planescape lore is... That's the other thing you missed. I literally got on... I didn't even know I could get on that soapbox about planar lore until the soapbox was presented in front of me, and I'm like, alright, buckle in, folks! We're gonna spend 10 minutes talking about the planes! Good shit. Okay, you're all ringed out, so let's give it to Squishy McSquisherson over here.
All right.
Hey, Shag, remember we were talking about, you know, how some problems can be solved with diplomacy and some can only be solved by violence?
I'm gone.
Guess what? Trust your discretion. You shouldn't, but okay. Out of gratitude, I will not slay you.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
That's a fair deal. That's not a bad deal. Ah, here we go. Cursed. This is a border town. On one side are the Outlands, on the other is the Plain of Carceri. So long as the status quo in Cursed remains balanced, this will continue to be a border town. So this is what the whole thing talking about before, about the belief of the populace and the balance of things determining where the city is. If things get out of hand in the city, it could slide into Carceri and become one with the Plain, impose too much order, and it ceases to be a border town by sliding into the Outlands. Alright. Hades is pure, straight down neutral evil. Here is this lovely planar chart that I should have brought out the first time. Hey, you're just in time for more planar lore, the soapbox that I got on earlier. So, before, in my planar soapbox, I swear this is going to be a highlight on its own, the planar soapbox, I was talking about the different orientation of the planes in regards to good, evil. Oh look, it says planes of law, planes of chaos. So, we have a city in the Outlands. So it's kind of in the in between places. So Carceri is one direct from Hades. Carceri is south-southeast. So that makes it neutral evil with chaotic leanings. Because Limbo is pure straight chaotic neutral. Pandemonium is So Carceri... okay. So Carceri is right between Hades, which is neutral evil, and the Abyss, which is chaotic evil. So it is between the two. Neutral evil with chaotic tendencies, or chaotic evil with neutral tendencies. Anyway, so Cursed is currently in between the two. So earlier we talked about Mechanus, which is pure lawful neutral. There's mentions of Mount Celestia, which is neutral good? No, lawful good. Lawful good. Yes, because it leans more towards the planes of law. And then Elysium would be neutral good, the same way Hades is neutral evil. Yep, because the 9 hells is lawful evil. And then we have Acheron. Cool. So that's the planes. They are on the 2 axes of alignment. Yes, spelled exactly like Acheron. Anyway, so yes, this is the page that I should have brought out earlier when I got on my soapbox rant. So, now that I have a visual, you can see that you've got the positive negative, which is the good evil axis and the law chaos axis. There was discussion of people wanting to change the nature of the planes. And this is why the nature of the planes cannot in and of themselves be changed, because otherwise they would not be the planes, because each of the outer planes represents a position on the axis of alignment. So, the Blood War, the 9 hells, Beator, firmly in lawful evil. The Abyss, where the Tenari are, firmly chaotic evil, which is why we have the Blood War in the first place. Part of why we have the Blood War in the first place. So. Anyway. So, basically, if it's to impose too much order and it ceases to be a border town and slides into the outlands. If things get out of hand in the city, it could slide into Carceri. So yes, the belief of the general populace, because of the nature of the planes being on the axes of the alignments, the general belief of the populace can shift it around to the different planes based on those alignments. The exception, I believe, of course, being Sigil. You know, this could be knowledge and brain space that I reserve for useful things. Actual real-world history. But, nah. You Beatizu are supposed to be the incarnations of evil, so why are you being so helpful? There's something in it for him. Do not mistake my help as kindness, nor me as anything other than evil. I am helping you because it serves my needs. Nothing more. Ah, Beatizu. More why we build the walls shit going on. Oh, Lemures! No! Ew! Do I need to go break out Mordenkainen's as well? Lemures are the lowest form of devil. They are literally newly created devils, essentially. So they are the lowest form. The old lore stated that souls needed to be placed on a device called a shriver, which literally put them through unimaginable torment, and it turned them into lemures, which then are these, you know, gopty bleh. You know, that are the literally lowest on the infernal hierarchy. Because, of course, there is an infernal hierarchy. Infernal. Hello, friend. Did my cat literally just push the pause button? He did. A little dark. Probably telling me to go to bed. I forgot to pause and he paused it for me. I believe this is where I finally get the achievement I'm choosing for. You know, I'm a mage. I should be maging. It's like, how can we best equip ourselves to walk blindly into... We're walking backwards into hell, middle fingers raised. Yes, there it is! I have been looking for this thing all game. Fingerbone key. This key is fashioned from a human finger, cunningly fitted with grooves, flanges, and rings. The lock that would take this key would be complicated indeed. I have been looking for this all game, specifically so that I can like point a friend of mine to that clip later in the stream, like when I have the full clip, and be like, hey, remember that story we were talking about? I totally stole it from Planescape Torment.
Like a shadow I am. Like a shadow I am. Like a shadow I am. Like a shadow I am.
Curse guard. Hey, do you hear something? Yeah, something that sounds like someone whispering, like a shadow I am. Wanna check it out? Nah. Okay, so this is gonna work out much better this time. Hypothetically. She lied. Okay, now here's what we're gonna do. Ring of Fallen Stars, right in the middle. Way too much fun. I'm casting Ball Lightning. Fall from Grace is casting Call Lightning. So I had a DM when we were doing Storm King's Thunder who gave me an item called the Book of Wit. So the Book of Wit, and I had to keep track of it very specifically, allowed me to change a single letter in a spell and cast that spell. Only once I could. Not just once total, but only once for that specific letter change. So, for example, one time, because I was a fucking troll and having a great time, we were going up against a group of Yetis, and I had Ice Storm, and instead I cast Lysis Storm. And that ended as beautifully chaotically. So, I was a cleric of Talos,
I'm here.
god of storms, and so
Yes.
I very often was like, so Call Lightning was like my favorite spell to cast because I had abilities that allowed me to, you know, max it out, do cool shit with it, being a storm cleric. So with the Book of Wit, I had some great fun with that. So at one point, I think I cast Wall Lightning, which was exactly as fun as it sounded. I think I have the character sheet somewhere. I'll have to see exactly what. I'll have to see exactly what horrific concoctions I came up with. But the one that stands out to me most, we were on a ship, going up against some bunch of people. really? I did all that work and there's nothing in there? Anyway. And so we needed a big AoE spell. So I turned to the DM and I basically said to my compatriots, I'm like, save well, guys. Turned to my DM and I said, I'm going to cast with my Book of Wit all lightning. And everyone at the table's looking at me like, I hate you so much right now, but this is genius. Go on. Then I made it worse. Not only did I cast all lightning, but I used my Channel Divinity ability to do maximum damage. So at 5th level spell in stormy conditions, if they failed their saving throw, that's 60 lightning damage. And believe me when I say, let's put it this way. 4 enemies immediately dropped. There was chaos, and it was the best use of the Book of Wit, besides maybe Lice Storm, and I may or may not have taken Shatter and turned it to Shitter. I think that was on my to-do list. I can't remember. I think we debated whether or not I could get away with that.
Speak your mind.
I remember this part. This is fun. And we are back in the Outlands. Oh, for fuck's sake. The Deva lied. Tricked me into signing a contract, and I, blinded by the possibility of capturing him, walked straight into his trap. Ah, when someone uses infernal contract law against the infernals. Thank you for joining me on this longer than intended jaunt that, of course, started with lore and turned into a little more than 4 hours of good God.